Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at Weekend Warriors, the ultimate tabletop skirmish game to play with your kids. Here we go, here's Weekend Warriors, the ultimate tabletop skirmish game to play with your kids. And this is written by Lee Foxsmith, which is me. So this is going to be a bit of a different video, not so much a review of the book, but rather a flick through and an introduction to what it's all about. So in this video, we'll go through the book and then I'll talk you through exactly what it's all about and how to get started with it. Here's the printed softback version, and this is available from Wargame Vault for $19.95. That translates to about £14.50. And you can also get the PDF version there as well, and this is $9.95 or comes to about £7.27. If you buy the printed book, you'll get the PDF version for free as well, so that's a great combo. Wargame Vault is available in pretty much any country, especially if you buy just the PDF. But if you can't get hold of the printed copy from them where you are, you can also order it on Amazon. And it's going to be the same price, and you still get the PDF for free as well, just by dropping me an email with a receipt of your purchase. But on Amazon, the book is a little bit of a different size. So just to show you a comparison, the Wargame Vault version is A4, while this is a little bit wider and a little bit shorter. So you're going to get two different sizes. The colour's also a little bit different, and the Wargame Vault copy has the printing on the spine, which is a lot better. So I could certainly recommend Wargame Vault over Amazon. But if Amazon is your only choice and you want the print version, then that's available to you as well. We'll be using the Wargame Vault version for this video, so let's get started. And on the back it just gives you a brief introduction to the game, and it tells us that Weekend Warriors is the ultimate tabletop skirmish game to play with your kids. It's a fast-paced, action-packed tabletop skirmish game that's fun to prepare and play together. The rules are simple and quick to learn, but provide enough depth to keep the bigger kids just as immersed and entertained. You learn the rules once and then apply them to any genre. And you can use any models to represent your warriors, from construction toys to paper drawings to your favourite plastic or metal miniatures. And then the dice are simple six-sided dice. You'll just need a measuring tape or ruler, and then your imagination. And you can set your games in any setting. It can be sci-fi, fantasy, historical, modern, or even zombie-infested apocalyptic wastelands. So you've got lots of options in where to play your games. And you tell your story your way as you develop adventures based on your interest, and it gives you a framework to build your stories around as you prepare and play the game. And as you take control of this narrative and choose which rules you can use and which ones you can leave out, it makes it really good for all different ages. But if you play with all the rules, then the game's going to be perfect for 7+, and I think once you get to around 9 or 10, then it's really great. So a big part of the game is choosing your band of warriors, and this is where your imagination can be let loose as you create your warband and then equip them with the gear and skills they need to succeed in their battles. And so everything you need is going to be in the book. You've got everything to create epic adventures, and so that's everything you need to get started. So let's go through the book and I'll break it down and just explain exactly how it all works and why it's so good for children to play. Okay, so let's open it up, and we've got 76 pages altogether, and that's going to be broken down into the introduction, getting started, some key concepts, the game, the ways to play it, game modes, and your order of play. And then it talks a little bit how to choose a skirmish, create your own, prepare for the battle, and then a good section on assembling your warband. And then once you've done that, we've got the rules, which all fit on about 12 pages. And then the end game, which talks about the different rounds and your winning conditions. And then tables with all your gear for a couple of different types of games like sci-fi and fantasy, but also generic tables, which you can use for whichever genre you play in. And then there's some quests and missions and one-shots to get you started, finally with some quick reference sheets and templates as well. So we've gone through the introduction pretty much already when we looked at the back of the book, but this just explains a little bit about why the book was created, and it's all based around the idea that all the games you learn to play, like for example Warcry, Kill Team, even like Underworlds and different other games as well. But learning the rules to play each of those games, you've got 3 sets of rules to learn. And so if you're playing with kids, sometimes they can get a bit bogged down by all the rules, even for one game. And trying to switch between genres and then learning another rule set can be a little bit much. So the game was designed with that in mind. And so learn the rules here once, and then you can apply them to any genre. So as soon as you start losing interest in, say, the sci-fi games, you could easily switch over to fantasy. The rules are going to stay the same, but just some of the wording for like the weapons and some of the different actions changes. So it makes it really easy. Once you've learnt it once, you can then start playing it however you like, with sci-fi, fantasy, zombie, anything you can imagine. And you'll see there's quite a lot of text in the book, and it's laid out quite big print though, so there's not a huge amount of information that you have to take in. But it's important to note it's not a children's book. It really is for you to read, learn, and then introduce it to them and kind of play the game with them by showing them exactly how it works as you play. And a big part of that is when you put together your warband and start building your warriors, because the rules are kind of woven into that. So your kids will be designing their own warriors and warband and then learning the rules as they do that bit, so they kind of take ownership of it. And then I think that's a really good way to get them involved in the game and really interested in it before you even start playing. This preparation process is a key part to it, and it's really fun as well to start putting the warriors together. And because you can use any miniatures from any game, you can literally go to your collection and be as random as you like. We've played games where we've got a tree man from Blood Bowl, we've got the leader from the Gloomspite Gits, and then we've got something else completely from a Warcry warband. And so it's all mixed up, and there's a whole different set of miniatures. And so you don't have to stick to anything from any other game. You can literally just take a miniature you like and then bring them into your warband as a warrior, develop a little story around them, customize them with the tables, and then you've really put together your own little warband. So that's a really fun part of the game, and it's key to really getting started. So I really like to think of the book as a creative template. It's got everything you need, it's got some boundaries and some rules in place that you can flesh out and build your game around. And it's really good if you like telling stories. You can start developing your own stories and building games and skirmishes around that, linking them together for campaigns. Or you can use the ones that are included in the book and the ones you get free. And then I also make new ones every single month. So there's going to be a ton of content, so you'll never run out. So what do you need to play? And it's really easy. Getting started, you just need to use a 36 by 24 inch gaming surface, or you can use a 24 inch by 24 inch, or even the popular 30 by 22 inch board that comes with games like Warcry and Kill Team. So I've got like deployment zones that you can use for the different sizes, so really easy to customize it however you like. So you've got a lot of control, but I find the 3 foot by 2 foot is fun because you can get more terrain on it, and I love having loads of terrain on the table, so that's really fun. So once you've got your board and your terrain, and that can be anything, you know, your terrain doesn't have to be anything fancy. Again, you can pull it in from other games. We've even played games before, ages ago, before I started collecting Games Workshop things. We used things from the kitchen cupboard, boxes, tins, strung them together, and they were like buildings, and we made an industrial zone with tins, and it was really fun to play with. And we used Lego minifigs for our different warriors and kitted them out with all different weapons, and that worked really great. Really fun to play on the kitchen table. So you can literally use anything you like. Then you just need a regular tape or gauge. I've chose the game to be 6-sided dice just because I think everyone's got 6-sided dice. You know, if I went with 8 or 10, it would be a lot harder to get started. So I designed it with 6-sided dice in mind. You can use any token markers or even just coins. That would work, no problem. And then 1 to 10 models per player. And I recommend 4 models per warband. And especially if you've got really young players, you might even go a little bit less, maybe even just 2 or 3. And then when you start playing with like 2 or 3, you can just bring your board size down to the 2 foot by 2 foot, make it a little bit smaller. And then once you've got all your models and everything else, you need a printed warrior sheet for each player, and the templates included in the book, and then a pencil and an eraser. The next section goes into the key concepts. So this is going to cover things like distances and measurements, how modifiers work, your contact and roll-offs, dice and tokens. Like sometimes we'll need to use a D3. So again, you can still use the D6 to represent your D3, and that just tells you how to do that there. Extra dice and tokens, and then we're on to ways to play, and then the order of play. And I wanted to keep this nice and simple so that the order of play was really clear. And this 11-step plan here tells you exactly how the game unfolds for each skirmish. And then once we've learnt that, we can then start moving on to choose a skirmish. With Weekend Warriors, you can choose just one skirmish and play it as a one-shot. It doesn't have to be linked to any vast storyline or lore or anything like that. You can simply come up with an idea, set a scene, and then start playing a battle in it and just see what happens. Or you can create a nice story and then build some skirmishes around that story and string them together as part of a campaign. So you've got a lot of flexibility in that way. But each skirmish will all fit on one page, and it will be a briefing. And so in this briefing, you can just tell a very short story, an introduction as to what the skirmish is all about, then some specific rules for the skirmish, and this will just be like who goes first, what certain players have to do certain things. Then it tells you exactly how to win, and that's really important to make it clear the winning conditions, and then it tells you what you can win, so you've got your prize. And at the bottom here we've got the skirmish map, which tells the players where to deploy their warriors, and then any other things. Like here we've got a pig, like a piggy bank representing the treasure, so we know where to place that. So this is really simple. You could literally just get a blank template from the book, put together a little story idea, and then look at some of the examples to find out any special rules, and then just work it from there. So really quick and easy to design something, and great fun as well. If you like telling stories, or you like writing like I do, then you can just take another sheet of paper and write up a nice story with a lot more depth to it and background. Make that as in-depth or as complex as you like, but then just make sure you take the information from that story and make it smaller for the brief. But I think if you like doing that, it's really fun to do, and do it together as well. Come up with a storyline together, flesh it out a little bit. But you don't have to go into all the detail about the characters, because you can let them come to life as you play the game and work through the skirmishes you design. So that's really fun as well. So there's a lot of influence from role-playing games here. And so if you like things like Dungeons and Dragons, then you're going to feel a little bit of that vibe coming into the game for sure. It is a skirmish game though, so there's no like role-play included. But there's no reason why you couldn't take the game here and use that as your encounters in a role-playing game as well. So it certainly could be slotted into that, and it wouldn't be any problem at all to work that out. So that's something you could do as well. But we really liked, when we used to play role-play games, we just like the encounters and the combat, so skirmish games are perfect for us. But that's our skirmish example on this page. But here you can see I've got the creation process in 6 points, and it lays it all out nice and simply. Again, with the battle map, all you need to do is do the deployment zones and keep it really simple. But if you like drawing, there's no reason why you couldn't draw a more in-depth battle map as well, and that would be really fun to do. So that's the creation process for the skirmish. Really simple, and again, you can do it together. And then it tells you how to prepare for battle. So you get your battlefield ready, your objectives, and your terrain. And then once you've done that, it's time to assemble your warband. And this is the main part of the game, especially learning the rules, and really fun too. So to build a warband, there's 4 steps. First, you give them a name, then you choose your warriors, you fill out the warrior cards, and you choose a warband perk. Nice and simple. And then you can also have like a pool of warriors as well. So if you're doing a skirmish that involves, say, 4 warriors, and you want to do a series of skirmishes in a campaign, then you can have a pool of as many warriors as you like, and then pull from that pool, taking out the warriors that you think will do better in that specific scenario. So that's really great. And then developing them, you can keep adding and building. But as you play through the skirmishes, your warriors are going to get warrior tokens, which they can spend at the merchant, and then they can improve their stats, buy better gear, and just generally get a lot better at what they do. And you keep all the information about your warriors on a warband sheet. And I've done it so that there's 4 warriors per sheet, and you just take the blank copy in here, photocopy it, get the PDF version as well, print it off, nice and easy. There's a print friendly version as well with no orange or anything like that, so it can be all in black and white, so they're both included. And then you keep all the information on just one sheet. So when you're playing the game, once you know the rules for, say, movement and attacking and everything, which is all on one separate quick reference sheet anyway, everything for your warband is going to be contained on one page. And the beauty of it is that you and your kids fill this out for your own warband. So you put together all the information on that sheet yourself, and that's a really great way to take it in. You've chosen the stats, you've chosen the weapons, you've named the warrior, you've decided what kind of warrior they are, and then you've written it all down. So that whole process really embeds exactly what your warband is all about and what they can do, including their special abilities and rules. And also, you don't get that many special abilities to get started with, so there's not an awful lot to remember for each warrior. But as you play through the different skirmishes and you develop them, then they start getting abilities added on, so you're learning it quite slowly and they're not all being piled with a ton of rules at the beginning. So I think that's a really good way for kids to learn and also get them involved in that creativity, which is a big part of the game. Then we've got the warrior characteristics. And if you've played any skirmish games before, this is all going to be really familiar. You've got movement, hearts. So hearts would be how many damage points they can take. Then you've got armor, actions, reactions, armor, save. And then you've got your weapon characteristics. So range, the number of attacks you can make, the power, and how much damage you cause. And this all goes on your warrior card. And again, I put another example here, just showing it all filled out, so you know exactly where everything goes. But the key to this is the armor. It's all developed around the armor. So to start with, you'll choose an armor type for each warrior, and that'll either be light, medium, or heavy. And the armor you choose will have a big impact on all the remaining characteristics. So starting with actions, if you choose light armor, your warrior can then make 5 actions, but with a medium armor, they can only make 4, and a heavy, they can only make 3. And so the idea here is, with the heavy armor, they're more cumbersome, they're not as agile, so they're not going to be able to make as many movement actions, they're not going to be able to do so many things each activation. So that really reflects what they can do. And also for reactions as well, the light armor will be a 5+ reaction because they can move quicker, so they can react to things faster. Where a heavy armor is a 3+ reaction, so they're going to be slower to react, slower to dodge out the way, but it's going to be harder to hit someone in heavy armor as well, because they're going to be down here with the armor save. They're a lot stronger. So with the reaction, the idea is they're quicker to get out of the way, but when you do an armor save, their armor isn't as strong, so there's more chance of that bullet or projectile getting through and doing some damage. Whereas the heavy armor, they're easier to hit, but harder to actually damage. So that armor is really what it's all about, and you build your warrior around that. And so once you've worked out which armor you choose, you can then populate all the fields for the different characteristics for your warrior card. And then we've got warrior tokens, and this is where you can get better gear and improve your warrior. And then another 8 steps just to make sure you go through everything you need to do to create that warrior. And then once you've done that, you're ready to play. So it's time to look at the rules. And this is all broken down, nice and simple. Again, not too much information. You haven't got to read through pages of rules. And also, they're optional. So for example, the climbing 1 action penalty is optional. You don't have to play that rule. You can literally just move around however you like, vertically, horizontally, jump over things, it doesn't matter. Or you can add in the little climbing rule that just makes it a little bit more realistic and a bit more difficult. And again, whichever armor you choose is going to have an impact on how far you can move, so that'll have an impact on how much you can climb. So again, someone in heavy armor is less likely to climb a tall building or have a grappling hook, for example, than someone with light armor. So it really plays through as you play all the different rules. There's things like sliding, so you can put features on the battlefield, like a pipe they can slide down, or even a slide, make it as crazy as you like. Pushing, you can pick things up and pass them to other warriors. You can heal each other. You've got Overwatch. Again, this could be something you might want to leave out for younger players, but fun to include. Or even once you've played a few games, start adding the rules into it. So that's another good way of doing it. Searching is great fun. This is one of the best bits of it. The kids love it when they find something and they roll a dice on the search table to see what item it is. So that's a really fun part of the game. Then we've got the attack action sequence. And this goes through, again, all the steps you need to do to attack and then to do your armor saves. And I'm going to be doing separate videos on all these rules just so you can see exactly how it works. Then we've got taking damage, line of sight, cover. nice and easy. If you can see the model, you can hit the model, but if you can't see 50% or more of them, or if 50% or more of them is hidden by terrain, obstacles, or another warrior, then they're classed as being in cover. And so nice and easy. That's really simple and something that was really important for me to get right. Then we've got the end game, so you know how to win. You've got a section for the merchant, so you can buy your gear. And then that's pretty much the rules. That's as easy as it gets. Nice and simple. And then we move on to a section that talks about all the different tables. So in the table section, you'll get things like the skills table. And once you build a warrior, you choose what skill they are. So you can pick between a leader, a scout, survivor, protector, supporter, punisher, veteran, or athlete. And then they're going to have 4 different abilities that work as a chain. So you have to purchase the first ability before you can purchase the second, and then so on. So first of all, they have a skill, and then you'd also look to give them a role. So they could be a sharpshooter, healer, brawler, soldier, assassin, demolisher, tamer, or scholar. And so you pick one role and one skill. And so you could have a scout healer, or ideally a scout sharpshooter. That'll work really well. Or you could have a leader who's also a brawler, so they like to get in close and fight. And the same thing works with the roles as the skills. You've got 4 abilities that chain, so you have to get 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that order. So when you get your warrior tokens, you can start buying these different abilities and then leveling up. You also get to pick a warband perk for the entire warband, and this is going to affect how they might play tactically. So you've got things like hold fast, so when holding objectives, the warriors can add 1 to armor save rolls, but you've also got one called incoming, where once per battle they can choose to get some supportive fire coming in, and that can be, if it's a fantasy game, it could be like firebolts from the sky, or if it's a futuristic sci-fi game, it could be their main spaceship in orbit just sending down some supportive cover fire. So this really is fun as well, but it's only 1, so that's all you've got to think about and use. So that can either influence your tactics or just use it for fun. Then we've got generic tables for ranged weapons and close combat weapons. And the more powerful the weapon, the more actions you need to use it. So again, the armor really affects how many shots you can make. So for example, if you've got heavy armor, you can make 3 actions. But to use like a sniper rifle, say for the sharpshooter, you need 3 actions to shoot it once. So you'll use all your actions to make that 1 shot with your like sniper rifle. So ideally you'd want to be using light armor with a sniper, because then you'd have 5 actions, so you could move, shoot, and then move again if you wanted. So that's a good option. Or you could have your warrior with light armor, giving them 5 actions, but then just choose a light weapon and they can make 5 attacks. So there's, although it's quite simple, there's only like a few weapons you can choose for ranged close combat. Being combined with the armor gives you lots of different tactical gameplay, and you know, keeping it down to say 4 models is nice and simple, but once you start getting 10 models and you can start mixing up not just the weapons but their roles and skills tables, then it can be more complex. And so this is where it gets fun for like the grown-ups to play as well. So that's the ranged and close combat weapons, and then we've got the same tables but done and reworded for fantasy games. So you've got your fantasy roles table, and now we've got names like archer, healer, a knight, an assassin, a battle mage, and then you've got the ranged weapons. So you've got a spell, a hailstorm spell, a blast spell, you've got a crossbow, throwing stars, and then for the close combat weapons, you'll have iron fist, longsword, and a knife. So you can see that's changed. And then the same for sci-fi as well. So you've got now sniper instead of sharpshooter, etc. And it goes through their roles, and the weapons have all changed now. So they're all customized and specific for sci-fi. Then you've got the merchant gear table, and this is where you spend your warrior tokens to give upgrades. So you've got all different items that you can buy. One example here is ninja training, and this will give you +1 to your reaction, and that's permanent, but that's going to cost you 3 tokens. So that's going to make you sure to get such a good piece of kit, you'll need to play at least 2 or 3 skirmishes to get enough warrior tokens to buy that. Whereas some are only like 1 token, for example, a time potion or they could be augmented reality goggles, and that'll add +1 reaction for the next attack action you make. So that's like a one-use item, whereas this is permanent, and so the price will be different. Then you've got searched item table, and this is where you find things during the game, and then once you do a successful search, you can roll the dice, and then you pick a gear item that matches that dice roll, and then you get a condition to use immediately with it. So that's really fun in the game. Then it's time to look at skirmishes, and included in the book I put some first to get playing really easy, and I recommend you just start with like 3 warriors each for this, and so a really nice simple way to get in. Then you've got 2 other skirmishes for fantasy, you've got a starter mission for sci-fi, and 2 further missions to play as well. And then we're on to the cards and templates section. Oh, as well as the missions in the book, if you buy the book on Amazon or with Wargame Vault, just drop me an email and I'll send you a campaign pack for sci-fi, which has got 5 missions, all designed around a story. And I'll also send you a campaign pack for fantasy, again with 5 missions around a story too, or 5 quests we call it then for fantasy. So you're going to have lots to play. And then each month I bring out a mission pack for sci-fi and a mission pack for fantasy, and lots of others as well for like zombies and all sorts, which are available to buy separately for a small price. Or if you join the Patreon, you get anything I make for this game for free. Right, now let's have a look at the cards and templates. So in here you're going to get your warrior cards, beast cards, which you can use with your tamer. You've got templates for the skirmish and everything you need for that. And then you've got a reference sheet, so everything's on one page. So here we've got a print-friendly version of your warrior cards and a more colourful one if you want. You've got your beast cards in colour, again print-friendly. Then you've got the skirmish template, print-friendly again. And then you've got a quick reference page in the book and one you can print off nice and easily. Now everything you need is on this page. It's got the order of play, the attack sequence, the armour saves, the different armour points, and then what actions you can make with that armour. So if you have light, the action, weapon, if it's a light weapon, it's going to cost you 1 action. It tells you how many hearts and movement, the falling rule, the different actions your warriors can make, and then what the action cost is. Then it's got the rules for line of sight and cover. So it's all on one page, and once you've read through the book, this is all you're going to need. Really nice and easy. And then at the back, just some links so you can keep in touch and keep up to date with everything. And all these templates, once you get the PDF, which is included free if you buy the book, you can just print them off from that. So you haven't even got to photocopy it. And if you get any problems, just drop me a line and I can just send you a PDF of 1 sheet anyway, so to make it really easy. But that brings us to the end of the book, and that covers everything for Weekend Warriors. So there we go, this Weekend Warriors, the ultimate tabletop skirmish game to play with your kids. And you can get this from Wargame Vault in the A4 version and PDF. And then if you can't get hold of that one and you want the printed version, then you've also got an option to go to Amazon. And again, it's just that little different size and the colour's a little bit different on the cover. And if you do get it from Amazon, drop me a line and I'll send you the PDF version for free. So either way, whichever printed copy you buy, you will get the PDF for free as well. Or just buy the PDF separately and you're good to go. I'll be making lots more videos for Weekend Warriors, showing you how the rules work. I'll be designing some warbands and creating some warriors so you can see the whole process in action. And I'll show you how it plays out on the tabletop as well, so you can see it in action and ready to go. I'll also do some videos going through those different campaigns so you can see exactly what's included in the monthly campaigns as well. So that'll give you a good idea of how the game's supported and the ongoing content that's going to keep it developing and growing. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're interested in picking up Weekend Warriors, I've put links in the description below to both Wargame Vault and Amazon so you can find everything you need there. It's so cool to be able to launch my own game, and thanks so much to everyone who's bought a copy of it already. I really appreciate it. I've got lots planned for the game, and every 2 weeks there'll be a new campaign pack released, and in between that things like tables, cards and individual skirmishes as well. So I can't wait to share all of that with you. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description and it'd be great to see you there.